Hey guys, I'm outside on this beautiful day to talk about the college football playoffs. So, before I go into my 5 scenarios that I have, put a picture on the screen. This is going to be according to 538, reliable source as far as I know, the odds. So, the odds of making the playoffs, Clemson has a 76% chance, 65% chance for Oklahoma, so 52% chance for Auburn, 48 for Alabama. Wisconsin's got a 47, Georgia's got a 42, Ohio State's got a 34. So, and then the odds of winning national title, and Miami has 22. I did not mention that. Miami with 3, Ohio State 10, Georgia 10, 11 for Wisconsin, 16 for Alabama. Auburn's got 14, 13 for Oklahoma, and 22 for Clemson. So Clemson's got the best odds to win the national title. So everyone's odds of winning their games. Clemson's got a 71% chance to win, which means Miami 29. Oklahoma's got a 62% chance of winning against TCU. Georgia, Auburn has a 53% chance to win and a 47% chance to win for Georgia. That does mean Alabama doesn't play. Obviously, Ohio State is 46. Ohio State is a 56% chance to win and 44 to lose, so Wisconsin is favored to lose that game. So the obvious favorites will be Clemson, Auburn, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. Those are the favorites to win, but to then make the playoffs. The favorites then are are Oklahoma, Clemson, Auburn, Alabama. But that's again according to a website, so not saying that's the most reliable. So let's go into scenario 1. Scenario 1 is the easiest for the committee. If we see and just note any ACC, they don't really matter in the scenarios. I'm not going to give you my rankings based on these scenarios. I'm just telling you that the ACC game doesn't really matter to who gets in. So I'm just telling you who gets in each of these scenarios. So scenario 1, easiest, is if the SEC winner and the ACC winner get in. That's just known. If they win, they're in. It's not guaranteed, but it's pretty much something you can just say, I guess. Then as far as chance it, and then that's also if Oklahoma and Wisconsin win. That's the easiest. Those 4 teams get in. Easy for them. 4 conference champions who all played pretty well. Great seasons. Easy enough for them to decide. Next easiest, I think, will be if SEC winner and ACC winner. We already know that. And then Ohio State wins and Oklahoma loses. I think then you say SEC champion and ACC champion are obviously in. Then Ohio State gets in, and then Alabama gets in. Not saying that's the ranking, Ohio State and Alabama. I'm not saying that's the ranking. I'm just saying they get in. The next easiest, which will be scenario 3, will be Ohio State losing, but Oklahoma also losing. Then you got the SEC champ, the ACC champ, Wisconsin, and Alabama. So so those 4 teams would then get in because if with an Oklahoma losing, getting their second loss, Alabama's going to get in over them. That's just, I think that would happen, but you never know. You just don't. I think the committee could say Oklahoma gets in, depending on how they win that game. They could say they get in, but never know. Scenario 4 is the next easiest for the committee. It's not an easy decision. Just note that. But so ACC winner again doesn't matter. The SEC winner, if that is Georgia, this scenario that's Georgia. Okay, Wisconsin loses and Oklahoma wins. So then you got 1 spot left, and you have Auburn, Alabama, and Ohio State, and Wisconsin supposedly, but you never know. So let's just rule out Wisconsin. And I'm not saying Auburn would get that spot. I'm just saying, for the terms of the committee deciding this, it does matter. So, in that scenario, when the committee's going to think about it, I don't know if this is how they think, but I'd kind of think of it this way, is Ohio State versus Auburn, do that comparison. You got an Ohio State team with 2 losses and a 3-loss team with Auburn, and Ohio State would get in. Not because 2 losses, 3 losses, that's the same argument with Ohio State versus Alabama, but in this scenario, Ohio State's got wins against Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, and Wisconsin, and Auburn's got wins against Georgia and Alabama. So it's pretty similar resumes, I guess, because 4 good wins, 2 good wins. Similar resumes, and you can kind of say, okay, Ohio State would get in that scenario pretty easily. But then, I'm not again, no, I'm not saying Alabama would get in. I mean, Auburn would get in over Alabama. Is not saying that. I'm saying if you compare Auburn and Alabama, you have a 3-loss team versus a 1-loss team. So usually you'd say, oh, the 1-loss team. Now, then again, that 1-loss team's resume is almost no resume at all, and that other team has 2 wins, both over current number 1 seeds. Not seeds, number 1 teams. They were number 1 at the times of their losses. So I'm not saying Auburn is a better team than Alabama. I'm not saying that. But then you have to considering that Auburn did beat Alabama. And they did it pretty handedly. So it makes it kind of hard to quickly say, like you could say Ohio State's better than Auburn. Alabama's better than Auburn. It makes it a little harder to say that. Which is why I think in scenario 4, you have the ACC winner. Then Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ohio State get in. Scenario 5 is the one I can't say. This is if Auburn wins. Auburn wins, Oklahoma wins, and Ohio State wins. That happens. I can't say. Because you obviously have the ACC winner, Auburn, Oklahoma, and is it Ohio State and Alabama? That's a big question. I'd say the website definitely thinks it would be Alabama by odd comparison. 14% better chance, but I don't know. I just don't know how you can say it. The website does also list a 1% chance of TCU winning the national title and a 7% chance to make it to the playoff, and USC to 6% chance to make it. Then they have everyone else is just under 1%. I don't think there's any way anyone else is winning. I mean, they do also say that USC's chances of winning the national title are under 1%, even they do have a 6% chance to make it. In my opinion, TCU and USC are out of the picture, and you're down to 8 teams. My personal predictions is how I think it's going to go down. I think Georgia's going to beat Auburn, which is against these odds, but I think that's going to happen. I think Oklahoma's going to beat TCU. I think Clemson's going to beat Miami. I think Ohio State's going to beat Wisconsin. So my top 4 rankings, my prediction is number 1 seed Clemson, number 2 seed Oklahoma, number 3 seed Georgia, and number 4 seed Ohio State. That falls under what if scenario 4 happens. My prediction will be scenario 4 happening, and then along with that, Clemson beating Miami, which there's a 71% chance of that happening according to a 538 website. So, I mean, it's a really, really interesting year because a 2-loss team in Ohio State, which is where they're at, has never gotten into the playoffs. Then you have the other fact that non-conference champs only gotten in once. That was Ohio State last year. So, and then Alabama's gotten in every year. And so there's just a lot of things to consider. And I can't